Okay. Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome to Plugin Along, a stream dedicated to LOTRO plugins. Last time on Plugin Along, we continued responding to a question in chat. Why is adding currencies to TitanBar so difficult? And can we improve the process? And we took what we learned by analyzing the process a few weeks ago and started making changes. Today we're going to start by glancing at changes I've made during the week that Little Red had just mentioned, and then keep going, trying to make changes always with the mind of what can make it easier to add a currency. How do we reduce the number of steps? As always, feel free to jump into chat with your thoughts and questions. And in the meantime, let me move some windows around, or minimize them in the case of those. Alright. My mouse is doing this really weird thing where it stops wanting to translate up and down unless I turn my mouse pad over, and then it's fine. And then, you know, it'll be fine. And after many hours of using it in that configuration, I can turn my mouse pad back over and the mouse just works fine. But it's a regular optical mouse, and so I don't know why it should care about which side of the mouse pad it's on, just that it definitely seems to. The bottom side of the mouse pad is not, not great. Anyway, so here we are in Helm's Deep. I think I'm going to run to some random place that is higher up in Helm's Deep, so that we can always, as always, risk falling down if I press the wrong keys. Let's go up here on the deeping wall and see what we can see when we're not on an epic battle. That'll be great. Okay. So, what are we looking at today? We are looking at TitanBar. If you're not familiar with it, TitanBar is a way of collecting information in a efficient form at the top, by default, area of the screen. So, for instance, if I wanted to have information about what's in my wallet, for instance, maybe I'm really concerned with Motes of Enchantment, Figments of Splendor, that kind of thing, I can go ahead and put them on the TitanBar. So, oh, that's interesting. What have I done? I have possibly broken it during all of my recent changes. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Okay, have to keep an eye out for that. Tellurian has a comment on Festal Buddy. Sikosi says, silly mouse. Yes, it is such a weird reaction. Wizik says, hello, hello. Tellurian says, since you're updating TitanBars, I still have a bit more time to translate. Absolutely. I'm very distracted. But your Festival Buddy 2 does not seem to update the tokens in its window. It should update them. But I'll make a note of that as something to take a look at. But that is a bug if that is happening, as you well know. Okay. Thanks for letting me know that, Tellurian. Okay. So, we have a menu here. We should make a note of the bug we just saw. So we're going to come in here to the to-do file. Probably caused by my changes. Start a fresh TitanBar experience. No save files. Add motes, embers, etc. to TitanBar. Whoops. And they glitch out. Okay. Scene. So we'll just make a note here that we saw the problem, but it may be, given the number of changes we're going to do, it may be that whatever code is causing the problem is going to be deleted. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on it if it's stopping us from working. Okay, so here's TitanBar. TitanBar is currently, let me go ahead and hide some other stuff actually. TitanBar is currently showing the wallet symbol, and if I were to hide that, the wallet symbol goes away, but the sub-wallet items stay up there. So we can get rid of it if we want. And then, in addition to the wallet symbol, which lets you choose which wallet currencies show on the TitanBar, you also have whatever currencies they're showing. And in this case, the hover over is just saying these are your whatever, and giving you advice for left click, right click. You can always click and drag these along a TitanBar. And that's really it. They'll show you how much you have, and ideally, when you gain or lose these things, it will update that on the bar. Okay, Tellurian says you logged into your character, and it shows 22 anniversary tokens. After doing a quest, the wallet count is 25, but Festival 22 still shows 22. It seems to update the numbers on load. Yeah, other thing I would be concerned about is if you're playing with a German client, which I know you often do, there could be an error in how it is checking for currency spends and losses on the German client. So that'd be the first thing I would do as a developer is, am I seeing this behavior work on the English client and not work on the German client, or does it not work across the board? Because I and a lot of other plugin developers tend to develop on the English client, so sometimes it'll work there and we'll miss an edge case on one of the other clients, especially during an update. Okay, but let me copy off what you did into another place. Cool, thank you. So, let's head on into source control. Since last week, which was the 23rd, I've made a couple of changes. And so, I don't want to spend a lot of time worrying about what I did, but we can just look at some basic ideas. No, I definitely said to you, show me the changes. That's weird. Okay, well, we'll do it in here. Okay, so, settings. There were so many settings that were hard-coded for a specific thing. So, for instance, show money versus show wallet, show Embers of Enchantment. All of these things that were just an explicit variable for this thing. But in some places, we're saying, if we're talking about money, then look at show money. If we're talking about wallet, then look at show wallet. And that's a great example of a place where we can go ahead and stuff these things into a table indexed by that thing and go to the show table for money or for wallet. And then we don't care what the thing is we're looking at. We just go to the table for the thing and find the value. And the same thing we can do for alpha and red and green and blue for the background color. The location X and Y for the control, which may have caused our problem today. And we can do tables for all of these. So a lot of these commits are just going for each of the currencies, and there's about 28 things that we care about. 2 of them being special cases for wallet and money, and the other 26 being currencies that TitanBar supports. And for each of those 26, they all had a show variable and an alpha and a red and green and a blue, and a location X and Y, and a where variable. And so we're able to go ahead and consolidate that down quite a lot. So the first thing I did, I wanted to work in steps to convince myself that I wasn't breaking the code too much. And so the first thing I might do is come on in to settings. Let's shrink that down a little bit. Come on into settings, and this was the very first commit. So we were adding the where table and a function to take this custom code here, which often in TitanBar has a remove after October 15th, 2013, so it probably doesn't matter. But it's such a small deal to do, we can just wrap it into this function that just says, hey, If the where value is 3 and we are trying to show it, then set the where value to none. This is a consistency issue, possibly because there's two different variables showing, telling us whether something is being visible or not. There's the show variable, true or false, should we see it, and there's the where variable, is it on the bar, in the tooltip, or not shown. And these two seem very much overlapping in what they're trying to say. So it'd be very reasonable to go ahead and add to our list, do currencies need both show and where? Now, it might be to fit in the larger TitanBar ecosystem, most things have a show and currencies have a where that kind of discriminate, but for whatever reason, it could be that TitanBar expects everything to have a show variable, like are you visible or not. But wallet controls really want to be more refined than yes or no because there's a third option, not visible but in a tooltip. This is the booleans are usually always replaced by something with a third option. You'll see that referenced some places as true, false, and file not found. Anytime you're using a Boolean value for things, just consider, is this really limited to two choices, or am I ever going to decide, oh, a third choice might be a reasonable thing? And usually the answer is eventually you're going to want to have more than two choices. Enumerations are kind of the classic language replacement for true-false, where you have an enum with your possibilities. Instead of just having numbers being 1, 2, and 3, you would have an in-code representation of that. And in fact, I think we should probably do that. All these places where it's 1, 2, and 3, we should probably just have a variable called on bar, on tooltip, and not shown or something. Just make it a little more obvious. But that's a bigger change than we're going to do today. Okay, so taking all these bespoke variables and transforming them into table accesses. Awesome. Now, some things, like money, have extra settings. That's totally fine. I'm not worried about them today. What we're worried about is all the things that all the currencies have in common and consolidating those. What else do we have? Well, again, more of these bespoke usages where we're initializing settings variables. Not worrying about those today, but they are relevant. And instead of using those bespoke variables, we have table access. Fantastic. And just doing that all over. So other functions reference that. And then one of the points of doing it this way is you start to see repetition. If a variable, then another variable and call a function becomes if the show value for money, then set the where value for money, and then call a function, which we haven't changed yet, but that comes called show hide money. Well, cool. If we just had a function that was show hide and you passed a parameter called money, suddenly this would be if show money, then where money, show hide money. And at that point, if you just have a variable called money, you just pass that variable. If show variable, then show hide variable. If show variable, then where variable, show hide variable. If showed variable, then and so on. And then you start realizing, oh, I can replace a lot of this with a single function or a single line of code. And that's where we're headed with this. So all of these commits that are parameterize this setting, then after having done that a few times, I could go ahead and start doing some simplifications. So there are a few things that behave differently. Wallet and money both have separate windows. This window that comes up when you click wallet, and this window that comes up when you click money. These are exceptions to the general rule of currencies which don't have a window associated with them. So there's usually a little bit of special code to deal with them. Maybe there's position parameters for those windows and whatnot. Also, the wallet doesn't have a where. There is no tooltip option. The wallet is where the tooltips go. If I go ahead and activate tooltip for Mithril coins, that's the third option, and you can't have a tooltip on itself. So wallet doesn't have a where, everything else currency related does. Wallet and money have windows, nothing else that's currency related do. So I just introduced some tables. That is to say, if you give me a value, I can tell you, does it have a window? Does it not have a where? And we can use that to enable these optional pieces of code. Cool. So we have initializations being used by wallet and money and destiny points, and especially destiny points, which doesn't have any of those exceptions, where we can see we're initializing things in checking if settings of something, then settings equals this. These are just initial values. If this table doesn't exist, initialize the table. If this table value is null, then go ahead and initialize it to a good default value. And once we have verified that all of these are good, oh, sorry, part of that's behind my face. Then we come on in and set the global variables that are mimicking these settings, except as we've seen in the past, these settings are stored explicitly as string values instead of as number values, probably getting around a localization issue that there's better ways, I think, to do that, but that's a different conversation. And all of these things that were bespoke variables, one for each one, we now just have show destiny points equals settings.destiny points. Okay, we can initialize the settings this way by having a single function that we say in settings for destiny points do something. Let's take a look at that. So initialize control settings. We're breaking this apart into two different functions: the initializing of the default control settings and initializing those global control settings. But it's going to look very similar. But we're going to take advantage of the fact that Lua is very flexible on how you index into these tables. You can do, like we're seeing here, settings.destiny points, or you can use the bracket, settings bracket, quote, destiny points, close bracket, which you can also replace that quoted value with a variable, and whatever the text in that variable is, that's the thing. So if you have a variable whose string contents is destiny points, you can, let's see, can I do this? Value. If value equals destiny points, value equals destiny points, then where value gets you the same thing as this code here, where you explicitly call out where destiny points. So Lua makes this super easy to genericize. So we come on in and we do the settings of a key. We do all of this initialization, and we have to pay attention to, does it have a window? If so, we want to set the left and top of the window values there. And if it doesn't not have a where, that is, if it does have a where, we want to go ahead and initialize the where value as well, and we can go ahead and take care of that remove after 2013 code, because it doesn't cost us very much to do the check and say, is there a discrepancy here? Probably will never be, but we can just do the check in one place. And the initialization of these other variables, sorry, just double checking something. The initialization of these other variables, again, we're indexing using that key variable, so show of destiny points, show of LOTRO points, show of money, whatever. It's always the same code. And again, we have special sections for if it has a window and if it has a where. And at that point, we can just call these two functions with that key, which lets us initialize each one of these. Initialize control settings wallet with just that. Initialize money with just that one call. Remembering that we're leaving the specific money-specific settings that are not covered with this generic code. We can't get rid of all of it, but we're not trying to. Almost every currency does not have these special things. As long as we account for the few that do, we're good. Awesome. So that's what Little Red Hood was alluding to when saying that I kept showing off all the code I was deleting. That's what we're talking about. Is you have a bunch of repeated code, and this is code that adding a new currency would involve you copy pasting into a new block because there's no way to skip it, and now there is. Now you could initialize a new currency by saying initialize control settings of festivity tokens, whatever. Considering circled back around on Festival Buddy. Didn't think about language might be a barrier. Just thought might the addition of the festivity tokens to the display break the display concerning did that count not changing. I don't think so, but it's always possible. I wanted to make sure that festivity tokens and Mithril coins were better tracked in Festival Buddy before there were festival-specific versions in the data of spring token, Mithril coins, and festivity tokens, or spring, summer, Farmers Fair, Mithril coins, and festivity tokens. And these are two special currencies where they're cross festival, and if you update your Mithril coins or festivity tokens at any point, that should be the number for all of your festivals. So if you go look at the spring display, it should show the same number, and it wasn't doing that because they were conceptually stored differently. And so I made a special character called generic tokens, and there's the generic token account wide for Mithril coins and generic token character specific for festivity tokens. And when I left it, I thought they were both working and that other currencies were working as well. But it's entirely possible that I missed something. So the first thing I'll do when checking that is see, does it work in the English? If I gain anniversary token festivals, does that update? If I gain festivity tokens, does that update? And then switch over to the German client and see which one of those activities does not work. Also, the spending of tokens. I need to go buy all the new stuff anyway, so that's a good chance to test whether Festival Buddy is recognizing those expenses. But absolutely, if you're seeing that the numbers are out of sync after that update, that was one of the bigger currency changes that I made in that update. Okay, coming on back to recent changes, we can see more parameterized shard settings, and then I missed something. And then, what does it look like to simplify that down? Once I've changed all these variables so that they're globals, you can just change all of this code to be a single function call. Parameterizing skirmish marks, Mithril coins, jewel tokens, hitbolt tokens, medallion, seals, commendations, LOTRO points. And again, all of this allows us to build up to the point where we're going to be deleting things. Amroth silver pieces, Stars of Merit, Central Gondor silver pieces, gift giver bands, bingo badge, which leads us to another point. There's a lot of currencies that, in general, I don't want to be in this list of things that I want to select from. When I am working with bingo, I want it to be in this list. And when I'm not working with bingo, I don't. I want there to be an options somewhere that lets me select the wallet currencies that I care about from a list of pre-done ones, and also allowing me to add new ones if I want. That's where I'm going to. I want this list of things to possibly care about to be much shorter. Like, maybe I don't care about shards, and I certainly, on this server, don't care about Amroth silver pieces because we can't get to Western Gondor on Treebeard. And Gift Givers brands also come out. Now, these come out in a month if the schedule holds. So soon they're going to be relevant, but not right now. Okay. So, parameterization of all these things. Now that all these things were parameterized, I could simplify variable initialization. And again, nope. There we go. What does that look like? Well, it looks like deleting a whole bunch of code. It looks like turning all of these initialization blocks into a few function calls. But now we've replaced 28 blocks of code with a single function call that only changes with the thing that we pass in there, the name of the currency, which definitely has us asking, why are we calling the same function 28 times instead of calling it once in a loop that runs, which is probably what we do next. It is. Use a loop. So we need to define a list of currencies. These are the internal keys that we're talking about. Wallet, money, destiny points, hitbolt tokens, all of that. These are those keys that we're using to index into those tables. And we suddenly have, instead of 28 calls to initialize control settings, more initialize control, all of these things, we can just go loop through currencies like this, and when you initialize it like this without an explicit index, sorry, you have key value pairs in here. These are all the values, and they have numerical indices that correspond with the order. So you have 1 equals wallet, 2 equals money, 3 equals destiny points, all the way up to 28 equals badge of dishonor. So you can just do a loop for that key value in the I pairs. We only care about the value. We don't care about that numerical value. And call the function initialize control settings. And then we had some money specific stuff. And that's it. That's all we have to do to initialize these currency controls. All of these calls to initialize control settings, all of these calls to initialize control settings, gone. And what we've done is replace a huge block of hundreds of lines of code with a loop. And that feels pretty satisfying. When possible, deleting code and simplifying code is a thing that I really enjoy doing. So, what else can we do? In the save function, where we're saving off these values, and you can see there's a lot of repeated code here. Settings.whatever.r equals this. Settings.whatever.g equals that. For the variables, and v is for the whether it's shown or not, so visible. RGB for the background color, XY for the position, and W for where is it. Over and over and over and over again. And if we just have a function that does those things, we can see this function right here. We have V, RGB, XY. If there's a window, there's also an LT left top for the window. And there's also a where for everything that's not wallet. Cool. So we have a single function, and again, you could replace every block here with a call to save control settings, and once you've done that, you could just replace that, and I did it in one go here, with a loop that just iterates through that table of currencies, calls save control settings, and that's it. And you have the money-specific settings that we're not trying to genericize out. And everything else is deleted. It's lovely. So many lines of code gone. And in the settings, there was also a reset function. It does a lot of repeated stuff. For each one of these, we set the show value, the alpha, the red, the green, the blue, the left and the top, the where, to a set of specific good initialization values for each one of these. It's exhausting. And there's extra things here that could probably be genericized. But again, I'm trying to stay laser focused just on making it easier to add currencies. And so we're going to have this weird schism between the genericized versions that are just done in this loop and done, and every other thing that's in TitanBar that could probably have a lot of the same reset code, or at least the generic stuff, these variables that keep coming up over and over, that show the alpha, red, green, blue, the XY location, the where. Anything that has just those could definitely be genericized. Anything that has those and extra things, cool, genericize the stuff you can, call out the extra stuff. You should be calling out the extra stuff. It's extra. Poutine says, hey, hello. Watch me rant about code redundancies for the next hour. So we're going to replace all of these 28 initialization lines with a loop, which is just calling that function that does these things. Set these things to the values. If it has a window, set those. If it has a where, set that. Cool. Money had a special value. Money has a special default value of being on TitanBar. That is, when TitanBar first loads up, you have no save file, the money control showing your gold, silver, and copper, that shows up on TitanBar. And so it has a special initialization value. Everything else has a value of don't show. Money has a value of be on TitanBar. Cool, that's fine. So we can just say, if the key is money, then use where. Otherwise, use that default value, which has been set to 3. So that's fine. We can actually see those values be initialized here. We can see that default value being 3. Great. Okay, so what else? More loops. Settings had a list of currencies, but TitanBar is a bit generous in how many different ways it will refer to the same concept. So there's often a 2-digit code for all of these things because whoever was writing this was really into abbreviations. And so Mithril Coins is also repeatedly MC in code. So we just want a lookup table. If we're talking about MC, then what is that? Okay, that's Mithril Coins. If we're talking about MP, that's medallions? Okay. If we're talking about Stars of Merit, cool. SOM, awesome. Is that really medallions? Okay, where is this? On TitanBar. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely doing something weird with that. But okay. Yeah. I've definitely broken something, and we can see when it loads from save file, it's fine. When you add it to the bar and it hasn't been there before, there's something going on, something a little bit weird. I'll definitely be looking into that. But again, as we delete code, we may delete the offending part of it. So, what else do we have? Oh yeah, so we can do something very similar. There's a whole bunch of code that is just if the thing that we're talking about is WI, then do some stuff for wallet. If it's money, then do stuff for money. If it's DP, then do stuff for destiny points. If it's SP, then do stuff for shards. This is just crying out for us to have a lookup table that converts WI to wallet and then call the same code regardless of what it is. So, like I said, we're just focusing on currency, but this could cover more. So, get the currency code from this thing, and if we found one, then go ahead and use it. Otherwise, just do what we were doing before. It's fine. And we'll go ahead and delete these 28 completely identical pieces of code with this genericized version. Awesome. And that means this is one less place that when you're adding a new currency, that one less place that you'll have to do something. If your currency exists in that table, then you're good to go. This just works for you. Awesome. Same thing down here. We have, actually it's even easier here because we have, this is an update background color variable. Great. So the background color for wallet equals the current selected value. Neat. Over and over and over and over. This is updating all background variables, so there's an option to make all the background variables the same thing. Cool. So, go ahead and consolidate all 28 of those into a single loop that just loops through the currencies, saves off the values of that are currently selected, and again, ignore everything that's not a currency because if we don't stay focused, we're going to end up rewriting like everything, and that's not a good place to be. It's a really easy way to fail to complete the project is to be like, but I could make so much else better while I'm doing it. It's true, you could, but if you take on that task, how likely are you to finish the project? And I think it's going to be much easier just to focus on currencies, get currencies better, make it so people can add arbitrary currencies, awesome, and then later on, circle back around and say, okay, now that we have this and it's working and people are having a good time with it, now we can go ahead and fold in all of these other things that are just exactly the same. The only thing is I didn't make entries into that global table of alpha for this one, or this one, or this one, or this one, or this one. But I could have, and we can do that in the future. So, laser focus, just currencies. If it's not currency, it doesn't get improved yet. And hopefully that means we can succeed to some level. Same thing over here, though. If we have, if we're from WI, if we're from money, if we're from DP, then do these things. And so we just look that up, do it, delete those 28 lines of code. Awesome. So there's a lot of cases where we are trying to create a background color from the alpha, red, green, blue values of a specific key. Turbine UI color of the BC alpha, the BC background color, the alpha, the red, the green, the blue for wallet. We do this all the time. We're digging in, and it's just so incredibly easy to have a copy-paste error where you accidentally change up the order of alpha, red, green, blue into alpha, green, blue, red, or accidentally do like alpha, red, red, blue, red, red, green. Just so many places for mistakes, and there's no need for it. So we make a function, and this function is just given the key, go make a color of the alpha, red, green, and blue of that key and return it. And in all these places, you can just set the background color to get background color of a thing. And the sharp-eyed among you will know that we already have that code WI, or that code MI, or that code destiny points, or shards, or skirmish marks, which means we're really likely to be able to pass that thing as a variable somewhere. So we're likely to be able to consolidate even more code eventually, to the point where maybe there's a single version of this function for, instead of having show hide skirmish marks and show hide mithril coins and show hide Yule token and show hide Hibbit tokens, maybe there's just a show hide function that you pass a thing into. That'd be pretty cool. So let's add a generic function for show hiding a currency. Neat. So we do kind of the same thing. We genericize in this function, and then we start using it. So all of these show hide, wallet, money, destiny points, shards, skirmish marks, mithril coins, and so on, all of these that are functionally identical, and again, a big obstacle in adding a new currency, are just consolidated down to a single function call elsewhere that we have show hide currency. Now, this function is longer than any of these specific ones because it has to take into account those extra places. Does it have, if it doesn't have a where, or sorry, if it does have a where, for instance. But we're able to take that into account in all those places that we're doing things like, if not show money, then show hide money. Cool. We can change that to if not show of money, then show hide currency of money. And again, we're starting to see a lot of duplication and a lot of generic opportunities. If not show destiny points, then show hide currency destiny points. Why are we writing this out? Maybe we could eventually trim this back to like a single call somewhere. Maybe that'll be in the future. Same thing here. We have if show of wallet, then show hide currency wallet. If show money, then show hide currency money. If show destiny points, show hide currency destiny points. So much repetition. And that gives us more ideas of things that we can consolidate later on. What's going on in the menu? Okay, yeah, just changing that. And in settings, I had accidentally had money as that prefix. It's actually MI. Then I decided I needed to be able to go in the other direction, so we just have a lookup table that goes in the other direction. If you have wallet, you get WI. If you have money, you get MI, destiny points, DP, and so on. Cool. Fixing a few items that threw an error. These were just little fix-ups. All right. What are we doing here? Awesome. This is a big one. A big part of the difficulty in reading TitanBar for me is that TitanBar loves using these 3-character codes, MLP. For M, I don't remember what the M is for, but the LP is LOTRO points. MMC, Mithril coin. MYT, Yule token. MLAT, anniversary token. Why is it LAT? I'm not sure. Maybe there was already an AT involved. MBB, bingo badge, and all of these. They're short, and I don't see any reason why they need to be short. We're not running out of disk space here for our code. But if you're coming from a background where you use these kind of abbreviations extensively, then your instinct might be to use them here as well. If you, for instance, have a text editor that doesn't have extensive autocomplete, or for whatever reason, you might find it very nice to write with these, but it does make maintaining it for other people, I feel, more difficult. So why not, instead of MLP, just call it LOTRO points. Instead of MMC, Mythril coins. MYT, yield token. And prefixing all of the tooltips with, suffixing them all with a lowercase h. So you use that same, usually 2-letter code, LPH, that's the hover text. Nope, we're just going to call underscore tooltip. Now, this is very regular, so you can still take a variable containing this and append underscore tooltip and still get the same genericizability. Hello, Kato, on the cat tower. But that's what's going on here, is every place that we're using these abbreviations, we're just going to stop. MMOE? No. Motes of Enchantment. Embers of Enchantment, Figments of Splendor. Just a moment. Okay. Yeah, so that's what this is. And it's an extensive commit because... Oh, how do I undo what I just did? Okay. Extensive changes because that's all over. But instead of saying MLP, we get LOTRO points, and that just makes it so much easier. This is the kind of thing that a good find replace utility, or if you have a lexical parser, you can say find all the instances of this, and then you can just go and fix them. So it goes really fast. Okay, so this thing, instead of an inscrutable block of text, we suddenly have bingo badge, then that. And because we're using the same lookup key now, instead of something different, instead of having MOE, then where Motes of Enchantment is, and then this other thing, suddenly we have if this thing is the localization of bingo badge, then where bingo badge, and also this other thing, bingo badge.icon, and also get currency of the localization of bingo badge. There's so much that we can just toss into a loop there. It's very exciting. So we're just doing these changes all over. That's what this commit is. It's just a global find and replace for each of them. All right. There were update functions. And it's entirely possible I broke something here because of the error that we're seeing. But there were a whole bunch of update a certain type of thing. Update destiny points. If the where of destiny points equals that, then go to a global variable called DP and call some functions on a label stored in there. Fantastic. We don't need that. We can instead have a function that that does this. Is it even here? Why is the LP version still there? That's interesting. Did I miss it? Well, now I'm curious. Let's go over to functions and see if I missed it. Functions.lua, LOTRO points. Huh. Yeah. So if the where equals 1, then label, set text, and label is that global entry of the code, which is LP, yeah. Set text of get the currency of that. Oh, it had, right, because LOTRO points is different. LOTRO points, we can't look in your wallet and see the value. Okay. No problem. We can probably come back and do something about that later, but it's an exception. Most every currency, if it's in your wallet, doesn't need this. And even this, we could account for it in here. We could just have if key equals LOTRO points, then do something different for how we get the currency. Or the currency itself could have a way to do that. If the string equals a LOTRO points, then get it differently. But if the string equals LOTRO points, then save player LOTRO points. So it's fine that it's a separate function right now. It's not emblematic of how we do things. Cool. But all the rest of these deleted. So delightful. All of these other places, instead of update destiny points, it's update currency, destiny points. Cool. And we're in the middle of a if where destiny points, so that seems very genericizable. And make a lookup table. Yes. This was just a case of currency named to key. If something is called LOTRO points in the English, but something else in the German, you just want to be able to take something from the player's wallet and figure out what is that talking about. And so this is just setting up that table at the beginning so we can use it later. Awesome. Wallet order. This was something that probably will be handy someday. Is there's a wallet order, but right now it's just the numbers 1 through n, and so it's not actually doing what it says on the tin, which is what order should things be displayed in. So we're gonna come up with something better if we ever want that, but for now, no. So wallet order is gone. Wallet order of I is always just I, unless you forgot to extend the array, in which case it throws an exception. So, causes an error. And so we're stripping it out. It's not there. It's one less thing you have to do to add a currency. And then finally, consolidated control or reset code. It's just another case of all of these places where you're just doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and again, 28 different times. We just make a function that does it, and we're done. Let's do a little bit nicer job of showing these things. So here we go ahead and grab that code, and then we do the same thing. The old one, the position, the settings, awesome. And then there's a slight difference for the wallet, which doesn't have a where, so have some slightly different logic, but then taking that into account, set the position, all great. So again, just another place where we can delete code. So that kind of raises the question of, now that everyone's caught up, now that I've refreshed my own memory of what I did over the last week, what do we do next? And the answer is, we have options. But any place where we're having these values of like WI, I'd very much like to just get rid of that. What's going on there? Why not just call it wallet? Why do we have WI? We have these things, S from control, that can be all of these things. I don't know why. Import control, WI, import control of these things. It might actually be nicer to do a search of MC, because Mythrocoin is just a plain old currency with nothing special about it. So that might be a better place where we can get a sense of, is this going to be a problem? So that S from equals MC, cool. This is where someone has right-clicked on a control. Let's actually go ahead and open up the wallet. Nope, that's not what we do. Open up the wallet, get Mythrocoin, and put it on the toolbar. And we can see, right-click to open the control menu. Cool. So that's what's going on, is we've right-clicked right there. Therefore, we're going to say the thing that just clicked is Mythrocoins, and then we're going to call a generic show menu. Now, this is a fascinating design pattern. I don't know if I should say it's bad, but on the face of it, it looks very suspicious. Why are we not just telling show menu that this was called by MC? Why are we using a global variable that can be read or write from anywhere to control the behavior of this function, or possibly multiple functions? Maybe it affects a lot of things. Where do we use this? So we call TitanBar show menu. instead of, again, passing this as a parameter to show menu, we just set a variable. Background, we set S, so we just copy it off. Oh my goodness. In here, we're controlling our behavior based off of the value of that. Fascinating. So other places use it to kind of say what's the current control. Okay, what we can see is this goes far beyond currencies. So as long as we don't need to, Pamela Ella says, which tokens are we adding? Ideally, any of them. What we're doing right now is trying to reduce the effort. And if you haven't seen it, there's a fascinating document in here, TitanBar maintenance, that details out everything you need to do to add a new currency. All right, excuse me. I think it's starting to be spring. So, everything it takes to add a new currency. And this is, I'd say, an intimidating amount of work for anyone who's sort of a casual plugin user and it's like, oh, I'd love to add anniversary tokens or whatever token that they're using that isn't in here. This is very accomplishable if you are a practiced plugin developer, but a pain in the butt. And it's, I suspect, very intimidating for anyone who's like, I wonder what it's like to add a currency, and then they look at that and they say, oh, never mind. That's, I'll just do without. So ideally, the goal is for it to be find table X and add an entry like this, right? And then example, and nothing else, right? Like, that's it. You just need to add it in this one place and be done with it. Now, the reality is it'll actually be a little bit more than that because some of these things, like the localization, the name of this in different languages, that is good to have. And what is the icon, the image ID for it? That's good to have. But that's like all we should need. And the rest of this is design accumulations that cause us to need to do something. Okay, so that's what's up with this, is we want to reduce the effort of this to something where someone who even doesn't know plugins very well but has access to the English, French, and German names of the currency and the image ID or a suitable placeholder until they find that. That's the goal. And if your currency doesn't have anything special to it, the way LOTRO points does, the way money does, then that would be it. And then here are the steps if you want to do something custom. Awesome. Oh, Tellurian, awesome. Returning to Festival Ability 2, you just tested on a German client on Bulwark with a fresh character, added an anniversary token through the quest, and it showed up. Then you got Mithro from Aubergine, and it showed up. Then you reloaded it and added Mithro again. This time, no change in display. Fascinating. Thank you for doing that. I didn't realize Bulwark was up right now, but that's an excellent way to test these things. And you'll change the lang to English to test again. Awesome. You are a rock star. Thank you for looking into those things. Okay, I've copied that over to my running record of things to look at. Man, reproducible test reports or how to make the thing show up again, they're just so invaluable to a software developer in general, a plugin developer like I'm the hat I'm wearing right now. Not, I have this problem, but here are the steps to reproduce the problem that I'm having is so good. So thank you, Tellurian. Okay, so that's what we're up to. Pamela Ella is not adding a currency, but changing TitanBar so that adding a currency is straightforward and even potentially something you could do through the interface. I would love not only a search button, but an add button that just pops open a dialog and says, what do you want to add? And even, is it already in your wallet? That'd be pretty cool. And if it is, we could write something that accounts for the language problem. Oh, we don't know what the language is for that, but we see the icon ID. In fact, I wonder if I can get rid of needing the language bit at all. we're gonna be jotting that down as an idea. So notes. If we can match up the currency icon to stuff in your wallet, do we even need the localized name? Because that would be interesting. Okay, so, but not a problem for today. Okay. So yeah, these places that use this shortened thing, we can imagine, else if value equals money, then if where money equals this, then import stuff, money info. Well, money is a special one. Let's go on down to mithril coins. Else if value equals mithril coins, then if where mithril coins, import mithril coins. And again, if this was mithril coins, control, set the position left of mithril coins, position top mithril coins, all of these things. This is the kind of repetition of statement of ideas and repetition of code that makes me think, oh, I'm going to delete so much code from this file. But other thing that has me interested is these global values, WI, MI, all of these. They're in a state right now where if I find all the references to WI here, and there's 40 of them, we can see in wallet, these come from an entry into the global namespace, or the equivalent of namespaces. Delirian says, the best result would be to not have to change anything if currency is added, but I do not see any way to get the icons without a change of the code. Yeah, so you either need the name of the item to get the icon, or the icon to get the name of the item. But you could a plugin with the right code could go either way. Give me the icon ID. Cool. I will pull the name whenever you log in. Give me the name of the currency that you're logged in right now, or select it from a list of things from your wallet. Cool. I will record that image ID so that I can match it up with your wallet regardless of the language. So that would be my preference, is not even need to localize the names of these currencies. What's the point of localizing the name of it? Just find the name of it in the wallet and be done. Anyway, we'll see how far we get on that. So yeah, we have a wallet table in the global namespace called WI. Why did we not just call it wallet? Why are we polluting the global namespace with it? Well, I can tell you that's an easy way to bypass the fact that this is showing up under the controls part of the Habna plugins TitanBar. And so the full thing, if we had just said WI equals this, that under the covers is actually global.habna plugins.titanbar.control. And actually, it's been moved, so it's .walletcontrols.wi. That is what we call obnoxious. And so, by sticking WI into the global, secretly, by sticking it in the global, you circumvent that. Now, they didn't have to stick that in the global. They could have stuck it into Habna Plugins TitanBar, and it would have had a similar effect. But by sticking in global, it's always available no matter where your kind of current namespace resolution drops you into. If you're in control, if you're in wallet controls, you're going to be able to see that. And so it is an easy way to do it. But I would love for there to at least have been a g.control. Right, some table that we can stick these into, so that instead of WI, it's would be controls of WI. Now, these actually are a collection of things that contain a control and an icon and sometimes a label and what else. All right, so what changes did I make? Cool. Yeah, Agartha says, that's where I thought you were going last week. When a new currency shows up in the wallet, configure it automatically until it can be added to the next revision of the code. Yeah, I would like to have, similar to this wallet listing, sort of a curated list of things that are likely to be of interest, even if they're not currently in your wallet. All of the barter currencies like Motes of Enchantment, Splendor, Embers of Enchantment, LOTRO points, Mithril coins, all those things, that's great, but probably not everything from your inventory, like everything for your wallet. Like, sure, you can select from all of these in a search window that exists only in my head, but the chances that you want bad fish to show up in this list, pretty low. Marigolds, maybe. I would love to be able to track marigolds here. You can't track marigolds because someone hasn't added it explicitly. But yeah, for Festival Buddy, Festival Buddy will track the various flowers, marigolds and whatnot. But I wouldn't mind being able to do it in TitanBar. That's one less thing to have on here, and yeah, that's fine. Kegs of Cram, probably not, but why restrict ourselves? So yeah, that Agartha, absolutely, that's the goal, is have a curated list of things, and also add from wallet button that just pops up the whole list of everything you have in your wallet, and you can just click it and say, add this. Or maybe even some sort of expert mode that lets you just add an image ID that says, or the name that you want to show up and the image ID, and says, go ahead and show that, and then, because I expect to get some soon, I want to track it before I even have any. But the basic mode would be, oh, you've got something in your wallet, click it, and we'll go ahead and put it up on the bar. So that's what I'm driving for, is add from wallet right here. So you have the curated list. Doesn't even necessarily need to change, although I could imagine removing several of these, especially I think Shard is outdated. But sure, whatever. Leave them. Maybe remove enough so the window fits all of them in one go. I don't know. Maybe even make this a tree view, so you could have all of the festival tokens, like your spring leaves and your midsummers and farmers fair and fall festivals, all collapsible under a single entry. That'd be fine. That'd be exciting. Okay, so I look at these global variables, and I feel like it does not make sense to name these differently than those lookup keys. My concern is that we're going to consolidate everything down to just wallet, in this case, or mithril coin, and that might make finding specific things a little bit harder. But that is kind of the goal, is that this S from control becomes mithril coin, right? This MC becomes mithril coin. If it's mithril coin related, it's going to be called mithril coin or have the string mithril coin. So that's the thing that's in my head. All right, so the next thought I had was the import control. We want to change the parameter here from things like MC to mithril coins. We sure do. So this is a case where we're going to probably use a lot of find and replace. And if we search for quote MI unquote, we should be able to find that. When it is being used, we should be able to find that exact thing. And if we want it to be money, then let's give that a try. Actually, I should have checked to see. Okay, the working directory only has the to-do file changed, so this will be easy enough to undo if we make mistakes. So we're looking at import control. That's the function we're changing, so this parameter being passed to it, that's perfect. Wallet controls. There's already a thing that collects these controls together. That's interesting. No, this is show height equals the show of that. The control equals that. This feels like code that doesn't need to exist. That's fascinating. What is wallet controls? I'm going to get distracted. Okay, so we have all of this in form options. Cool. when does this get updated? Like, it's only referenced in this one. Of course, it's only referenced here. It's a local. So we're initializing this thing with the show height value and the control value for so much. Oh, man, I want to delete this block so much. Okay. So that's form options. Wallet controls seems unnecessary. Kill it? Okay, so what's going on here? We have, if one of these global things is not equal to nil. Okay, and we're doing this across all of these. Well, we have a thing in settings. Yeah, hang on. I gotta undo the changes I've made so far. So we're gonna go ahead and save all so we can see what it was. Don't care about that. Don't care about that. We're gonna circle back around. I'm going to get derailed. Okay. So that's form options. That's the only one we care about right now. Oh, and settings. So let's go ahead and unpin that. So settings. We have a lookup that says we can get these 3 letter, sometimes 4 letter codes. FFAT, Farmers Fair. Yeah, we can get all of these. And if we iterate through it, we can get both the WI value and the wallet, both the MI value and the money. And we can do this in either order, currency code to key and currency key to code. I tell you, spring is in the air. Okay, so we don't want to iterate through just currencies, or if we do, we're going to use the entry that we have from currencies to index into currency key to code. So we might as well just iterate through one of these two instead. Now, ideally, eventually, currency code to key and currency key to code are going to be redundant because it'll just say wallet equals wallet, money equals money, DP equals or destiny points equals destiny. It'll be the same thing on both sides because we are going to update the code so that this thing, CGSP, never appears again. It's always Central Gondor Silver Piece if it's referred to at all. But the idea being that we're eventually going to eliminate these things completely. So right now it's a meaningful lookup table. Eventually it will probably not exist at all. So the question of which one do we iterate through, really just a question of if we have a key and a value, which ones do we think we're going to use more? We have WI, wallet, WI. If we go down to Mithril coin, we have, where even is it? Mithril, MC, Mithril coin, MC. Cool. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and... Okay. Tellurian says adding Mithril coins doesn't change the amount displayed in English as well. So that's going to be very easy to replicate that. Thank you for checking that, Tellurian. I want to go ahead and copy that into the list of things that you are looking into. Awesome. Thanks. Okay. So my concern... Okay. So wallet controls is being indexed by this thing. So we don't actually... Because wallet controls is only referenced here... Okay, show... This is item ID and... Is item ID... Adjust icon is expecting that abbreviated string. Is adjust icon used anywhere else? What on earth? Okay, we do have update currency. Yes. Oh, man. Okay. So item ID is being passed to just icon. That's the only thing that we're doing here. Okay. So what this should look like is for key value in pairs of one of these two. Let's go ahead and go code to key. Do that end. Okay. So we're going to get out of here. Key value equals for and that's going to be MC Mythril coins. Okay. So we want to take this in here. And we have if. So we need that global value there. And I had a way of referencing this. I think it was in here. Okay. So I was just calling it table. Awesome. So local table equals this, and we're going to go ahead and instead of calling it key, we're going to call it code and key, which is my mental model. When we say code to key, we're linking MC to Mythril coins. It has got to come up with a name. That's what I came up with. So that's the code, MC in this case. So we can make a change. So that's table that or control equals table of that. Awesome. What else do we have? We have this value here. Well, that's just code. We have show Mythril coins. That's just key. And control equals the control of that in the table. Show hide. So I think that's pretty generic there. Okay, so if the table is not nil, then the wallet controls of this code equals the show hide equals the show of the key, and the control equals that table's control. Done. Fantastic. So what we want to do is identify all the things that just replaced. Well, anything where we have show bracket, essentially. So if we have this, these, yes, it replaced that. Again, it could have also replaced these other things, but one thing at a time. Just visually reviewing that there's nothing funky going on. Okay, so that allows us to replace all of those entries in wallet controls. Now, I'm going to assume wallet controls showed up under here. Form options. Add currency in form options. Fantastic. So if we look for Mythril coins, we don't see that anymore. If we search for MC, and we can just search for matching case here, we don't see that. So form options no longer is a place we need to look for it. Fantastic. So that is this, and we can go ahead and test if wallet controls has the same functionality. Now, what is this? This is form options, resize controls, resize icon. Sure, let's go ahead and reload TitanBar and see if there's any errors loading it. There is not. Awesome. Now, if I understood what form options was really doing here, that would be pretty cool. But options. All right, so okay, what's this? OPW title. That's okay. The L of MOP. Thank you. More options. All right. So that is more options. I don't understand what's going on here. We have an options, form options, cool. But why does it care about all those other things? For Andrea says, glad you caught the stream today. When you were looking at TitanBar, you got caught in the pitfall of getting sidetracked and overwhelmed. It's great to see how it's supposed to be done. You got to pick your battles. And what we can see right here is if I had spent the time on all of these other things, making those variables part of that global show table, we could have replaced all of these. But yeah. Okay, so how is Mythor coins being used, or wallet controls? And as we see, we get sidetracked all the time anyway. It's only in resize controls. Cool. How does resize controls get called? It's only called if W scroll bar is changed. Okay. Oh, if the height is changed. No, is that what scroll bar is? Okay. Set the value. That's TP height. Okay. The height label, which is OPH text, awesome, which is height. Okay. Oh, yeah, you can see every wallet item. I wonder what this value was originally. You can see every wallet item does move around if given the space to do that. That's fascinating. Okay. Nope, not that. So, we have every one of these wallet controls, and we can see wallet controls isn't correct because we're also adding, this is just controls, right? Wallet controls is misnamed. Note, wallet controls is misnamed. This should hold all possible controls so they can be notified if the TitanBar height changes. That's all this is for. We're going to document this for ourselves later. But we can see resize icon is looking in there and resize controls is looking in there. And resize icon is that, why is that called? That's if the height changes. Okay, when does resize controls get called? Wait. Oh, that's, icon. Oh, no, that's fancy. I mean, bizarre, but fancy. Okay. So you can have them scaled to anything between 16 and 32, despite the fact that that's a bonkers thing to do. All right. So if the height changes, so let's update our notation. Is missing. This should hold all possible controls to be notified if the TitanBar height changes or the icon size changes. Okay. Icon, resize controls, resize icon. These are resize control height if control visible. Look at all this duplicated code. Oh my goodness. But you can see there's some interesting interesting customization. I don't know what IF is, but IF doesn't just set the size to icon size, it sets it to something else. What on earth is IF? Infamy? Infamy. Okay. How do you track infamy? Is that a reputation? Oh, hey, I have caused an error. Fantastic. We can see a reputation tooltip is not happy with something. Reputation tooltip. All right. Attempting to get rep order. Yeah, for Andreas, infamy is a PvMP thing. Yeah, I'm just presumably it's not showing it to me because I'm not in a monster play. Okay. Okay, so what's up with rep order? Okay, reputation faction, great. Oh, fascinating. Alright, I'm breaking all sorts of things, apparently. Okay, so I'm in the infamy and 47 reset tooltip win. Why is this breaking things? Nothing I changed should be causing problems here. I said optimistically. Okay, what did I just do? I enabled Renown. So let's test our assumptions. All right, reputation and renown are throwing exceptions. So just documenting what we're seeing. Renown. When moving mouse over icon on bar. And reputation, I think, was pretty much the same thing. So we're going to undo Renown. Yeah. And I think one was also moving off of it. Okay, so we are assuming that that is a problem that I have caused. But we don't know for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and come into Documents, Lord of the Rings Online, Plugins, and we're going to move this somewhere else. So we're going to go into my development here. And we're going to go ahead and get rid of this, move here, and install from the LOTRO Plugin Compendium a fresh version of TitanBar. Because I don't feel like I've broken anything, but I've made so many changes, I probably have broken this. And the first step is to verify, did I break it? So we've installed TitanBar. We're going to come in here, just do a quick little refresh and load TitanBar. Okay, so hey, look at that. You've tracked no faction. Left click to see the faction list. Awesome. So it works as expected. And Renown. Total Renown. Fantastic. I'm guessing Infamy is what you see instead of Renown. Thank you, Wizik, for pointing out the Free People's version of Infamy. I do basically no PvMP, so those terms are not forefront in my head. Okay, so those are things that are just fine. Lovely, even. So we're going to go ahead and say have no plugins 1.35.30. And I'm going to move that out of the way and move back the one that is, broken. And we can demonstrate that it's broken. We cannot okay, the problem happened when I added it, but once I reloaded the plugin, it was okay. If I add Renown, yep, there we go. Okay, so other thing I did was in the loading of the control. I have changed that. What did I do? I don't remember. Let's do a code comparison. So we're going to go ahead and compare this, compare that, and come on into TitanBar. And we only care about the diffs, but let's go ahead and expand. Thank you. Well, that doesn't seem right. Of course, I compared from the wrong place. Let's compare that. Perfect. So we only want to see the differences. Let's expand that out. We don't care about the get or the VS. Okay, we only care about this. We moved a bunch of things from control to wallet controls. Great. Functions control, that sure seemed a possibility. And in here, there's an import control. What did I break? And how did I break it? Okay, so for certain controls, we're going into the wallet directory. So wallet, money infos, great. And we changed some variables, great. Destiny points, no, don't care about that. We want to find how I broke whatever that is, infamy. Great. All right, attempt to index field tooltip win. I guess I was assuming it was a part of this, but I don't know. Update currency. Well, it's not a currency for one thing. Okay, so we have a show hide wallet. Again, anything to do with a wallet shouldn't affect infamy or reputation, so I have to assume it's a higher level thing than that. Functions mini control, sure. Oh, that's just changing variable names. Probably not it. More variable name changes, awesome. Yeah. For main, yeah, why not? Let's check that out. All right, I think we're about to have to go deal with looking at code. All right, so we have a line number. That's great. Let's go take a look at that. Infamy 47. That's not it. I closed it. Okay, Infamy 47 is looking for a reset tooltip win. All right, where does that happen? In functions, we have a reset tooltip win. Is that the only place? Well, we're looking for function or reset tooltip win. That's the only place. Is functions loaded? functions is loaded here. Okay. What happens before that? Not a lot. Okay, the actual menu things themselves. Oh my goodness, these are wallet specific items. Why are they defined in main? Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, reset tooltip win is showing as a problem, and sometimes all right, Tellurian, thank you. And Andreas, thank you as well. Okay, Tellurian, I'm going to copy off your comment that French is also not working, but switching to another festival and back does cause the number to update. So we're missing the callback handler on a currency changing, but we are reading the wallet correctly. Awesome. Thank you for checking on that. Okay, Andreas points out that Infinity 35 is happening as well, so that's probably a roll over. Attempt to index tooltip win. Which I would assume also is related here. Yeah. Okay, so if we say equals create tooltip win, we go ahead and create that there. All right, what happens if we do a different thing? Okay, that's a tooltip, that's a tooltip, that one's fine. Okay, so where is the tooltip window being created, and how did I break it? I think is a reasonable question. Oh, right. If it's already there, it works. So we got to reload this. And we load, put Renown there, and it causes problems. Go somewhere else. Renown there still causes problems. So there's something different with something I've done where controls are loaded into the bar versus live versus they were already there. Oh, that's bonkers. Okay, create tooltip win, sets that to a value. Reset tooltip win gets rid of it. So tooltip win should always be possibly null. Okay. So in infamy, when we call tooltip win get with, we are assuming that it exists. This is mouse move. What does show IF window do? Show IF window initializes this. This is infamy tooltip. Infamy tooltip's in that same place. And we know it works. So if that doesn't exist, then we set IFTT to true and we show the window. Okay, and otherwise, the window is there. And when the mouse leaves, we go ahead and close it and reset it. Cool. But this whole attempt to call global reset tooltip win a nil value, that is so bonkers to me. Let's go ahead and just look at the namespace and see what's going on, because I'm confused. So there's a great visualization tool I want to highlight called Here Be Dragons. And we're going to go ahead and add that with the plugin compendium. Dragon. This is just a development tool. This is not meant for enhancing play. But we can go ahead and import this. In fact, I'll import that up here. And then we're going to go ahead and say we're going to explore the global. And let's just see what happens. But I need to how did I do that incorrectly? Attempt to call field event a nil value? Oh, that's weird. Okay. Sure. I'm easy. Let's do that. I was just using this in TitanBar, so I know it can work in TitanBar. Attempt to call field event. What is going on here? Why is this being weird? So, documents, Lord of the Rings Online, plugins, Equindel, and this is Lua Explorer, great, and okay, so default browser is loaded, and we add a function. Huh. Sure, let's go ahead and put that here instead. I wonder if I need the turbine files. Is that the problem? I mean, maybe. Wouldn't hurt. Turbine. Oh, maybe I can do it straight from the plugin compendium. That'd be nicer. Turbine. Attempt to call field event. No. No. Okay. Details event. That is so weird. I've got to assume, though I don't know for sure, that we're being thrown off because we are in a subdirectory. That's my only explanation right now. So g show dragons. So we're just gonna do a thing to try and short circuit that. So main function show dragons, and we're just gonna do that there. I don't think this is gonna work because I think I'm fundamentally misunderstanding something. That is so weird. Okay. I literally was using this tool the last couple of days. Maybe 3 or 4 days ago. Oh, that's going to haunt me. I don't understand what's going on. Like, obviously it works. Have I fundamentally misunderstood something that is leading me astray? Maybe. That would not surprise me. Okay, let's load up TitanBar at least. And let's load up Here Be Dragons. Okay. So, if TitanBar and Aquendel shared the same apartment, then we might be able to accomplish the same thing that I'm trying to do anyway. So if the package is not specified, but TitanBar's is, sounds great. Let's do that. Okay, so we went ahead and said, give them the same apartment. And that's a memory model that says that Here Be Dragons and TitanBar are coexisting in the same space. They can look at each other's variables that they put in the global namespace, all of that. So if we look at Havna plugins and TitanBar, we should be able to see any variable or function that's declared without more explicit namespace stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and close. So reset tooltip win. We should expect this to exist in this. I keep saying namespace because I'm used to calling it that. Havna plugins TitanBar. We should see reset tooltip. So if we come on down to the capital R's, ideally we see that. Reset tooltip win. Great. It's a function. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and undo Renown, unload this, load TitanBar, load Here Be Dragons, because I want to see the same thing. I want to go to Havna plugins, I want to go to TitanBar, and I want to go down to the R's and see reset tooltip win, and it exists. Awesome. So if I tell Renown to come on over here, and it says, attempt to call global reset tooltip win a nil value, that tells me that the thing exists, which is what we expected, but something's gone wrong with how this is accessing it. Why is that true? Now we do have implement tooltip 10, attempt to compare nil with a number. Let's come into that. Well, that's tooltip, all right? Implement tooltip 10. Okay, there's a definite weirdness here. Attempt to compare nil with nil with number. Why would you say that? W is local, mouse X is local, screen width is a global, and we're having problems referencing global stuff. Which doesn't make sense. I'm really wondering if something affects the global namespace in a way that I'm just not understanding. There's so much use of _G though. Can I scroll down my chat log? I sure can. So when you first enter in, we're getting an error. Every time the mouse moves, we're getting an error. And when the mouse leaves, we're getting an error. And it's hard to do that with control. There was some error online after I loaded the plugin. What was that? Line 10. Yeah, that was... Here, let me go ahead and undo Renown, unload this, reload this, and add in Renown. So we can see in the infamy tooltip window, we attempt to compare nil with number, which is a problem because screen width should be defined by that point, because screen width is defined in a few places. It looks like in our main we get a we do a get size, and then find all references. And then in form main, we also do that, which is happening like once a second. We go ahead and get the updated size, which is a whole other thing. So this is not null, should not be null. We know it's not null because it is used all over the place. But Infamy and Infamy tooltips, these are controls that are having problems saying. I'm wondering if this is going to be the case with other things. Yeah, so this is a widespread issue with something I have done, where when something is added to the bar, but not when it is on the bar, when we load TitanBar, then we are missing something important. Which is fascinating. I love that I've managed to break it in some really subtle way. I feel like it's taking away from the point of this, which was deleting all the code that I can. Okay, so Infamy hasn't really changed. Let's see. Yeah, there was a line that I had deleted. Okay, ignoring the controls themselves. In background, we changed how we generate background colors. I don't feel like that's important. A bunch of wheres, a bunch of stuff. And again, I wasn't changing Infamy, so it needs to be something that applies more generally. Functions, yeah. Deleted a bunch of things, but again, I didn't delete anything having to do with Infamy or any other generic control. The biggest thing is adding another import directory. It feels like that's a big thing. But again, the infamy section, unchanged. Did I change how we call import control in some way, but not realizing it? Okay, that's the actual one. And we're looking, for infamy, sure. Show head infamy, This is wallet control. What happens if you call import control without a parameter? Nothing? Okay, well, keep an eye out for another import control, but that's weird. Okay. So when we are in form main, if player alignment is free peoples, then if player wallet size, cool, we've got a bunch of stuff there. If we're in monster play, do other things, and otherwise, okay, so for main, what did I actually change there? I said if where equals 3 or is not 3, then do all this. Again, all currency stuff, but that's what we are seeing is there looks like there's a problem with the import of the control when you have turned it on, but not when we're loading it from scratch. Somehow I messed up the mechanism by which a menu item is bumped and then something changes. So yeah, again, if show infamy was on, then we import the control. Cool. And if we do that, we're importing the control from form main. Okay. So is where you do the import, is that somehow a problem? And if so, okay, when I moved stuff, it was infamy moved. No, infamy didn't move. Okay, infamy tooltip window, none of those moved. Could something that references it have moved? I wouldn't think so. Okay. Okay. Just walking through. Infamy is a fine example. It's not used all over. This is during form main. If we're show infamy, then import the control. Okay, so if infamy is there, we're going to import it, and then everything just works. If this is false, then the control doesn't get imported here. All right, when does it get imported? Not there. Okay, here is where we would do it if we were in import control, which was the very thing that I was going to start by mucking about with today. So if the thing that we're importing is if, and it would be, because any time we're calling it, we can see import control if. Well, I guess we don't know for sure, but yeah. If it's if, then we're going to do things like import this. Great, love it. And this is in functions control. TitanBar control, yeah. This is import if. Show hide infamy is if show infamy, then okay, so show infamy is true. Just out of curiosity. Okay. I should really do this in Renown, of course. Show hide Renown. What on earth? Renown. What is Renown called? It's probably spelled with a K for one thing. No? Renown. Okay. Renown. For Andre says infamy is renowned. That could be that they just reused it. Okay, if player line equals 1, then the infamy window title is renowned. Otherwise, it's infamy. Okay, cool. We're in the right place. Neat. Okay, so renown, show infamy is true. Great. We're here. So we should be importing if. So just out of curiosity, import control if. Okay. All right, we can see we imported that and it works just fine. Go ahead and unload and reload. And Renown, we can see show infamy is true, import. So we're seeing the same basic, turn it off, unload, reload, Renown. Yeah, we're seeing the same basic things. Now we're seeing it work. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but we still have the broken version here, right? Save all, just in case. So these things, that works just fine. Take off renown reputation, unload. Okay, put renown and reputation here. They work just fine. And stop putting out the messages. So we're going to go ahead and in functions control, That was line 194. We're going to comment that out. And in options, where was it? Okay, Renown, reputation, fascinating. Okay, what about something else that we haven't been playing with? Vault. Okay, track items. Well, it's a good thing that we're recording this so I can go back and try to figure out what, if anything, I did. So, what have we learned from this? I don't know. There seemed to be a disconnect between the status of memory, where variables and functions were, and what was seen in a particular function. And now it's not happening. So we're going to just put a pin in it. This is a thing that is maybe a thing. And move on, because I don't understand why it was happening. Let's see. Where did I see this? Add an item to... What about the time? We were able to get it to do on the time. There we go. Okay, so it's still reproducible. Okay. Fascinating. So why was it just not reproducing? Oh, I did comment out that one line of code. So let's go on back to there. To functions control. Why not? Unload this, and then reload this. Go back to Renown. Okay, we are able to reproduce it. It wasn't some weird thing that fixed itself by me writing out a debug statement. Weirder things have happened. Okay, so we have an import statement. We're importing Infinity. We're importing these things. All of that should be fine. And it must be because we're in the middle of executing that here. We're in the middle of the mouse move for here. And IF is in a global table. We set mouse move. We set a window visible. So just for kicks, sure. Setting to not null. Okay, so we've got that, and we've also got, that's the tooltip window. We also want the reset. So turbine.shell.writeLine setting that to nil. Just to get a sense of what's going on here. Now, I think I forgot to unload it, so everything's fine. For Andreas suggests we learned something. I don't think that's what we learned, because this is definitely a me-created problem. I just don't know why it's happening yet, and I think it's going to be a subtle thing when it does. Okay, so, hey, setting that to nil. Okay, why was it set to nil? Okay, this was set to nil. That's fascinating. Sure, let's, just out of curiosity, this is only set up in infamy. Cool. We manually call this function from this. What is this? This is move control. If dragging, then we move the control, which is really fascinating because that suggests when you are dragging, we tell it that we're leaving, which resets the tooltip, and then we recreate the tooltip? I don't understand that at all. But I do know if we unload this and reload this, if you click and drag, oh, interesting. So it's setting it to nil for that. Yeah, apparently we don't want that tooltip to be visible while you're dragging this around. I'm guessing there was a feature at some point that said the window's in front of that. Okay, so fascinating. We manually do that. What's really funny is that we do that instead of just having a function that encapsulates this behavior. Like mouse leave already reset the tooltip and set the variable determining whether we have a tooltip to false, instead of there being a function that says clear tooltip that mouse leave calls and also this other thing calls, which would state its intention more clearly. Clear tooltip, right? Like you could just do that. You don't have to leave the functionality in this other place. But that being said, this looks like a false trail for our problem. So, how else can this be happening? Not nil, nil, not nil, nil. All that looks great. Whoa, did I click? I must have. Okay, so all that looks great. I forgot to turn it off. Turn off Renown. Bring it back. Turn it on. So, unfortunately, it's hard for me to move my mouse at the speed on. Oh, wait, I could just turn on a different speed. All right, sensitivity. All right. Oh my goodness, that is pretty terrible. Oh, okay, so setting my DPI to 200. Oof. Just scooch on up here. And the very first thing we get is attempt to compare nil with a number, which is very suspicious. And then I'm going to go ahead and leave. And that's fine. I mean, it's not fine in the sense that that didn't work. So we come on in, attempt to index tooltip win. Okay, when it says attempt to index tooltip win, oh my goodness, that's terrible. When it says attempt to index tooltip win, that's line 35, and that's here. But we didn't see this. I think I want to, in mouse move, I want to have turbine.shell.writeLine, IFTT, and do we have a dump function? Undefined dump function. I would like to just have one of those. I want to go grab it. There's probably a million different versions of this. This is just one that I'm used to. Okay, we're going to go ahead and stick that into main, probably. Okay, in here, we're going to go ahead and dump out IFTT. Anything else that we think is useful? Probably not. We'll just go ahead and dump that out for right now, just to see it working. Goss in chat asks, any update on the game being ported to console? As far as I know, SSG, the company that makes LOTRO, has not announced any plans to port LOTRO to any console. And one thing that we can take a look at is the letter from Orion. This is was put out in January, and this is kind of their roadmap for what they hope to get to. Roadmap. Oh, that was like letter, wasn't it? Yeah. Haha. So you can get a link to this in chat there. This is just at lotro.com. And these are the things they hope to get to in 2024. But Goss in chat, to my knowledge, Standing Stone Games has never announced any plans to make LOTRO playable from them on other platforms. Certainly many fans have gotten LOTRO working on other things like Steam Deck. Some people get it playing on Linux or Mac, but currently the explicitly supported platform is Windows. Okay. Agartha says SSG pitched a proposal for a remaster that included a port to console that was rejected, but all I knew was that a parent company of SSG had included it on a potential, thoughts thing. Yeah, For Andreas says, think it came from the EG7 letter. Certainly, a company that is not SSG might have mentioned such plans. Okay, well, thank you for that question. But yes, as Delirium points out, I don't actually work for SSG. I don't have any inside knowledge, and so I don't have actual information. I just have whatever's been publicly announced. Agartha thinks the rejection statement also came from EG7. Agartha, are you saying that the proposal came from EG7 as well? Okay, we're going to go ahead and unload Renown, load in TitanBar, and I'm spending so much time hammering on this because I would really like to understand how TitanBar's code is reacting and if I've done something untoward. Okay, there's an IFTT that is nil. That is... How did we get IFTT nil? Written out. Yeah, Agartha in chat is... It sounds like what I was recollecting was basically correct. That is, SSG did not announce plans to port to console. They just reacted to a request for more information by saying, here's what we think it would take. Okay. So we saw TT being nil, which would activate this, so that's fine if it starts off nil. But we then go into Infamy Tooltip, line 10, which is the show IF window. So where did that happen? Okay, so that was set it to true and then show that window. But that function had a problem. Therefore, it never did show that. Okay, why does it think screen width is nil? Well, let's find out. Turbine.shell.writeLine. W, dump that. A mouse X, dump that. Screen width, dump screen width. Cool. Maybe this was the problem all along. So we know it's not going to have the problem here. Cool. Get rid of it, unload, and reload. So coming into Renown and just slow myself down to like 500 DPI because, oh my goodness, that is so bad. Okay, we can see it does think screen width is nil. Can we tell why we think screen width is nil based off of the places where screen width would not be nil? Screen width is used in a bunch of different places. Screen width is set to something. Here, let's actually just, why not? Turbine.shell.writeLine. This is for alltimer.update. Setting a screen width to, and dump that out. I would not expect that value to ever be null at this point. So this is just a sanity check. Okay, a bunch of places that are accessing screen width. Cool. Using screen width. All right, we're going to set this again. And this is in main.lua, setting screen width to that. Okay, a bunch of places that are using screen width. For Andreas suggests maybe it's set after the import, and if you reference it in a new import, it creates a local copy. This should be, whenever screen width is being set, it is being set implicitly in an area. So that's actually a really good point. This screen width is in the namespace global.havna plugins.TitanBar. So it's actually that. That's the full name for it, is this. So you have an excellent point. This is not the screen width which is being set, or which is being used by anything that's in the controls directory. Great point. The question is, why is the controls able to, what screen width is controls able to see? So let's go through here a moment and just out of curiosity, does it fix the problem if Infamy tool, if this just local screen width screen height equals this? Does that actually just fix the problem? Save all. Get rid of Renown, unload, reload. Yeah, I would imagine attempt to call a function that hasn't been defined yet would be a problem. Thanks, me of the past. Okay. We are setting screen width to that. Cool. Infinite tooltip 45. Attempt to index global settings. Okay. So we're definitely making progress here. 45. Setting is dot. Okay. Yes. So I am not confused that this is causing problems because this should have always been causing problems. It's in a different directory, and settings is not in the global namespace. Settings is in the namespace. Like, we're not looking at _G settings. I say it's not in the global namespace. Let's go check out where this thing is defined. Yeah, settings equals blah. Like, I don't think we assign settings to have a global alias to it. So much duplicated work. So my confusion isn't that it's not seeing settings. Settings isn't in the same namespace. My confusion is, how was it ever seeing settings, given that it wasn't in the same namespace? I'm just gonna do this again. We are going to get rid of have no plugins in favor of the other one. Yeah, that's not going to work. Sorry, Explorer's decided to just seize up there for a minute. Yeah, the import statements are definitely tied to the name of the directory. Not that they necessarily have to be, but they are written that way. Those are hard-coded strings. Okay, why is Explorer not responding? Yeah, under says, seeing someone way more experienced in coding having troubles with this also makes me feel a little bit less bad about myself. Yeah, writing plugins is a humbling experience. You get to have some real highs and some real lows. Okay, we've gone ahead and just reset Explorer. Why not? So, in our documents, Lord of the Rings Online, plugins, we're going to go ahead and move that out. No drag and dropping for us. Keyboards are better for this anyway. All right, so load that. It's loaded. Actually, unload because we want Renown to not be there. We're just going to demonstrate that the problem does not happen. Which, how could it? It's a major problem. Okay, Renown, great, everything works. So here's my problem. I don't understand how it works, given that, yeah, I know, given that the exact same problems are at play. Settings is defined in a different namespace, and I want to go ahead and reload up the Here Be Dragons again, because I think that'll be instructive. Alright, so TitanBar, main, import that and explore. And I really just want to explore the global namespace there. So cool. So unload that, reload this. Attempt to call field event. Okay. Right. I never did get that sorted. It doesn't matter anyway. So load up TitanBar. Fix Renown. And then we're going to go poke at the namespace again with Here Be Dragons. So we can see all of those global variables just, all of those variables spilling out into the global namespace, which is not great. Okay, so settings. Settings we expect to be in _s, not in global, and we can see it's not. But if we go to Habna, plugins, and TitanBar, we should expect it to be here. So if we search for lowercase s, and have a filter option, we can see settings right there. And all of our settings are in here as expected. That's great. But what we don't have is we didn't load up Renown. So let's go ahead and load Renown and then load Here Be Dragons. And ideally what we're going to see is that Habna plugins. Oh, we can see IF is there now. So we have the control and the icon. It's been shoved into the global table as well. Awesome. And is there a corresponding IF anywhere else? Well, we can see some IF variables that probably were there anyway. Turn off Renown. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and look. Renown should not be loaded, but we probably expect to see the IF variables. We see IF location XY, that's fine, or at least expected. We see IF window left and top, alpha, blue, green, red. Those were not shoved into global, so that's fine. Infamy control, no, import control. Infamy points and rank, those are global variables, that's fine. But where we would expect to see anything is that underneath TitanBar, we should see a controls section, control here, which is where we would expect to see stuff that is defined by, say, the money, well, not money in this case, but any of the coins defined, any of the functions defined under controls. So control here, anything that's in here that has already been imported, we would expect to see that. Okay, and we do not expect to see that IF in the namespace yet. Cool. So we're gonna go ahead and unload. I don't know if there's a way to get Here Be Dragons to refresh. Maybe there is. I didn't look for that. Okay, load that. Hey, there's a refresh all button. That's even cooler. So we should expect to see IF is here. But what we don't understand, I'm being generous with that, what I don't understand is when we come on into Habna Plugins, TitanBar control, which is where the stuff is, we can see the show IF window. Cool, that's new. Just curious about the refresh button. Okay, TitanBar. Here Be Dragons. Awesome. So, Habna Plugins, TitanBar. We want to get down to control. So, just going to snip what's under there. Awesome. Going to go ahead and load up Renown and refresh. Great. Habna Plugin, TitanBar. Coming back down to control. Alright, did not actually try to shake that. But thanks for minimizing things anyway. What do we see that's different? Move IF control. Yeah, that makes sense. Refresh IF tooltip. That's new. Great. And of course, it's fine. All right, because it doesn't have my broken stuff. Cool. Yes, that is expected. So, have no plugins, TitanBar, control. We've got the refresh IF tooltip box. Anything else that's different? Show IF window. Cool. So, we're going to go ahead and just take some notes here of what differences show up. Cool. Okay, refresh, that's all good. Move IF control, that shows up. Refresh IF tooltip, that shows up. Show IF window shows up. Those are the only three differences that we see. But everything that's happening there, we don't expect it to have access to settings. So is there a global dot settings that happens somewhere that we're not sure about? No, there is not. Is there something that says equals settings? A lot of settings dot, but just settings. Saving profile. Okay, yeah, that's cool. But in general, if we're looking at the control section, if we're looking at infamy, I don't think there's a reason why settings would be visible. And in any rate, we didn't change that. This is what's bonkers to me. However, we're going to go ahead and just take ourselves back to where we were. We're going to get rid of that Havna. Bring this one back. Load this. Load this. And we're going to expect to see the same thing. We're expect to see Havna, TitanBar. We want to see control in here. All we see are wallet controls. That's interesting. Okay. And we see under wallet controls, yeah, that makes sense. Refresh, MITT show, money to coins. Money icons is in a different place. That's interesting. But, refresh, show to. Okay, all of those things are not in the control namespace. Fair enough. If we go ahead and add Renown and refresh this, have them plugins, TitanBar, and come on down to control. We get move IF control, refresh IF tooltip, and show IF window. That's great. Those are the three that we were expecting to show. I'm still interested in that. I think that might be something I did. Okay. So those things are there. Okay. We're going to come back into the code. that tooltip line is still bugging me. Infamy tooltip. Alright, that all-timer update is a little distracting and I don't think it's helpful. So we're going to come into wherever that is. That's FRM main. Okay, so we do know that that one is constantly being updated, well, periodically updated once a second, roughly. So we're not going to worry about that. Okay. So screen width, great. Everything's great. If we go ahead and remove that, though, I think what we saw was settings wasn't great. So this is definitely suggesting, like we were saying in chat, that how it's being imported might matter. Andrea says, have to go in lurk mode and maybe even way. Good luck finding the issue. Thank you. We're going to hunt this down. Okay, so attempt to index global settings, which is going to be a problem. And then infamy 36 has its own thing. All right, let's check this out. So infamy line 36, screen width again, and settings on line 46. Roughly. Okay, so how infamy is being included, import infamy. I know we had other imports besides this. Well, I say that, but am I referring to the right version? Right, we want to go to import control. Okay, so import control. Is that happening in here? That's happening in import control. Okay, so if this is the only place where that's happening, then the next part is where does import control get called, and how is that different, if it is? Okay, so one of them's in FM main, and one of them's on functions menu, and they're both the same level of depth in the folder structure. Have no plugins, TitanBar, FM main. Have no plugins, TitanBar functions. Okay. So this is if show infamy, then import control. If show infamy, then import control. Okay, so new thing. In import control, if we are importing this, now, turbine.shell, .writeline, importing IF from show hide infamy, which is functions menu show hide infamy, and the other one was FRM main. So then importing from FRM main, which I think it's just called that, FRM main. Okay, and then in infamy, I want to know what settings looks like. So turbine.shell.writeline, I want to say infamy.lua settings, and we'll go ahead and dump out settings. Cool. Oh, I don't actually want to dump out settings, do I? No. Well, it's fine. Okay. Importing from FRM main, infamy.lua settings, we've got settings. It's great. If we turn off Renown and turn this back on, and then load Renown, settings is nil. Okay, so the difference in how these are being loaded is boggling my mind. But we know if value is if, then, okay, well, turbine.shell.writeline, well, import that plus this plus that. Okay, we're adding a callback. Don't care, update. Okay. Sure. Let's go ahead and turn off Renown. So this is a definite weirdness that is happening, and it's happening. I can't remember. Is this the good or bad version of the code? I think it's the bad version. Yep, it's the bad version. Okay. So TitanBar is loading. Importing that from show hide infamy, we do the import, and settings is nil, which is a problem. But if we unload this and we load it, then we're going to see that we're importing it from settings, and that is so weird. Okay, I'm going to make those same changes over here so we can compare. So that's line 216. We're going to go ahead and if show infamy, then also do that. I want to see this. Okay, and then I don't even care about that anymore. In FRM options, nope, that wasn't it. FRM control. Okay, FRM control, we're going to do that. That's line 208. Functions menu, yep. Functions menu, line 134, roughly. Show hide infamy. Okay, we're going to have that. In main, I wouldn't mind having a dump function. Okay, got that. Don't care about that anymore. And in the infamy, we want that. So we're going to go into control in infamy, and we're going to go ahead and set right up the settings. Don't care about those right now. And here, no, that's all fine. Okay, so in order to support that, we're going to come back to here, cut this, paste it over there. Yeah, something's got it open apparently. Possibly all of these windows. All right, we're going to paste in the old one and rename it, refresh, and load this. Okay. I did not see the one change that I wanted, which was control infamy. Yeah, must not have saved that. All right, we'll just go ahead and bring that on over. Oh, of course. Okay, so we see that there. So when we load this from scratch, not surprisingly, we see all those settings getting dumped out. That's fine. If we undo Renown and unload this and then load this, what we're going to see is that the settings are there, I expect. No, settings are nil. So how did this ever work? Okay, so okay, that's in mouse up. We care about it. Cool. Let's see settings there. So we are in here, and we're going to go ahead and dump those settings. Can't put double quotes without escaping. Okay, I'm going to unload that and load that. All right, we dump those out again. Great. Settings are available. This is the thing that weirds me out, is I get why the settings aren't there in general, but why can it see the settings now? So let's come in to in IF control. Well, IF is in the global namespace. But I would have thought this was resolved at the file level. So, having plugins, TitanBar, so much stuff. Control. I don't see a reason why it would have access to global stuff. So if we assume it's happening because we are inside of a callback of something that's stored in the global table, maybe. But settings isn't even in global table. So why would settings... I'm not convinced that is what you say it is. Now, is it possible? Okay, settings wouldn't be loaded by the time this runs because... No, it should be. Settings should be populated. We load settings very early on. This is a mystery to me. I am confounded as to what's going on here. And I feel like if I don't figure out sooner rather than later, it's going to come back to bite me because I'm missing something very subtle. And that concerns me because if I don't understand why it's happening now, making more changes between the plugin as it exists and the plugin as I want it to be feels like it's going to have a good chance of making this problem undiscoverable. So what I can do, and what I would recommend doing actually, is figure out where I broke the code. And so let's walk through that for a few minutes before we hit the end of this stream. I'm going to go ahead and unload this plugin. We're going to go ahead and move this back. Actually, let's just make sure that that last change that I made. Yeah, I want that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and delete that. We're going to go bring back the actual one. And we're going to take advantage of source control. So first thing we're going to do is open up fork, our source control utility. And we've got a lot of changes that are in play here. And we're just going to go ahead and stash those. Call them in work. And now this is a pretty clean working directory. And we're just going to verify that we see the same problem. So load the bar, tooltips there, load the bar without Renown loaded, load Renown, and verify we get the same error. Okay, so yes, we're in that state. Cool. So we're going to step back in time with source control. Now, before I started doing stuff, I updated to version 13530, which is what we should have here. So if we load this now, we should experience it working just fine because this is the version that we've been comparing against. And then this was just to do file changes. All right, changed many icons to only be initialized once. Let's see if that broke something. All right, so Renown, everything's great. What's next? Moved wallet controls into their own directory. That could have done so much. So we're going to go ahead and load this. And add Renown. And there it is. Whatever we did there, that's what broke it. And that's where we're going to focus on. So in our changes, we can see a couple of things. We added a new global variable, which is just that location, the wallet controls. We updated, I should say, the directory that we use to import stuff. But only the things that got moved. We should make sure that the other half of the behavior. Yeah, so that's fine. So it would be reasonable to assume that one of the files that we moved, maybe wallet, does something more global than we expected, and moving it is going to cause us problems. So let's come into control, wallet control. Sure, let's come into wallet. Move, mouse up, mouse down, mouse click, mouse leave, mouse move. All of that seemed pretty reasonable. Wallet tooltip window. We have show window, refresh the box. Sure. Wallet window. Form wallet window. We're importing stuff. That's fine. Probably. If we collapse that, we have the fresh box. So is there something in here that is necessary? You wouldn't think so, but I think that's the next step, is I need to figure out what changed when we moved stuff around. Because that certainly broke it. So I made a comment when I moved those files, it was for convenience only, because the goal is to delete most or all of those files. And so we don't need them to stay there. So I'm not committed to, fixing this problem or whatever, but TitanBar is doing something weird with one of the files that I moved, is what I'm getting. Because I've moved files before in other plugins that were less perhaps convoluted. And it was fine. So there's something going on here that I didn't expect. And that means it's going to be harder to delete code if I do not understand why it works. So tooltip, refresh. Well, we've got a bit of a thunderstorm going on. So a question would be to figure out where these functions are being called, and if that seems suspiciously early in the process. The Amroth, Ancient Script, Anniversary Token, Badge Design, Taste, Bingo, Central, Commendations, Destiny. Actually, other thing we could do is move these one at a time. So we know what these changes are. I'm going to move this window out of the way so I can look at it at the same time. Oh, Tellurian says, another update. Reselecting the same festival from the dropdown will update the token numbers. Spending shield tokens does not. Thank you for digging into that. Yeah, the handler for the dropdown doesn't necessarily care which festival you were on before. Like it could ignore a non-festival change, but it could trigger off a re-look at your wallet even if you didn't actually change. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and update this. Take Renown off. Put Renown back on, everything is fine. So what we can do is we can hypothesize that it's probably not most of these files. So if I make a new directory, new folder called wallet controls, and we go ahead and move something, let's say the Amroth silver pieces. Yes, I want to move it. Thank you. So I've moved Amroth silver pieces. Cool. In function control, or at, whatever that means. Yep, function CTR. We're going to come on into, well, we're in import control, but we'll come on into wherever Amroth is, Amroth silver pieces. And then this is going to need to change. And in fact, we should go into main and grab that as well. So we have the control dir and the control wallet dir. And we want to use this for our import directory. So this is going to be that. Cool. Very basic. Ideally, that does not change anything. I mean, if it does, we have bigger problems. But Renown works just fine. Now, hypothesis, wallet is the problem. So if we were to do that, if we were to take wallet, wallet tooltip, and wallet window, and move them into wallet controls, whoopsie. Can't do that. Okay, don't need to save all. Okay, and then the other thing we needed to do was in wallet on line 59, there's an import statement, and we need same thing, that needs to be the new variable because it's importing wallet window, which is now here. Okay. So new hypothesis is this breaks it because wallet does something special. Do need to update here as well. And that's going to be line roughly 15. Great. Wallet. So that and wallet tooltip. Got to do those as well. Okay. So we add Renown. Interesting. We do not replicate the problem. Well, that was not what I expected. This is why we test things. I would have expected it to be wallet. But no. Okay. So, just glancing over, is there anything else that really seems like suspicious? No. So, what I'm going to do, and I'm probably going to do this offline. Telerian asks or hopes that they're not annoying me. You are absolutely not annoying me. I really thank you for digging into exactly where the edge cases are of what you're seeing. So please never think that a bug report is annoying me. Worst case, it is simply a bug report that I cannot deal with at that moment. So I just file it away so I can look at it later because bug reports are golden. Time to do something with them, even more precious. Let's call it platinum. But no, bug reports are amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the process one at a time of moving these controls until whatever I just moved reproduces the problem. And in that file is going to be something where I say, aha, and it's all going to make sense. And my next guess is it's one of the money infos windows, because why not? None of the other ones make sense. Money infos has to be it, right? But I'm going to go ahead and do that offline. So as I'm wrapping up, now's a great time to get any last minute questions, comments, concerns into chat. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to reproduce this problem by moving files one at a time. And once I do reproduce the problem, I'll undo that, but I'll keep going. I will get the maximum number of files that can be moved without any further changes. And ideally, it's going to narrow down to just a couple. Like money infos will be the problem, and everything else will be fine, whatever it is. Once I've isolated where the problem is, what files can and can't be moved, I'm going to dig into the specific file and try to figure out how it causes this problem. And that's the part that's really blowing my mind, is I don't understand how this problem is happening, but it is happening, and we've seen the point at which it happened, which was moving the wallet controls into their own directory. Something about this large change broke unrelated stuff, and understanding how that works is critical to understanding how TitanBar works in general. Or maybe it's a Lua thing, or it could be even a bug. Bugs happen. Usually it's not a bug. A coworker of mine has the mantra "select is not broken." Select is a very is a super important function, especially in Linux systems, of waiting on handles. And a coworker of theirs was having a problem with it. And they're like, well, maybe there's a bug in select. And this is a function that is used by millions, if not billions, of people in their day-to-day lives, and used by programmers everywhere. And it is thoroughly tested. And while bugs can happen, in this case, select is not broken. In this case, Lua is not broken is almost certainly something I've done. That has to be my assumption, is not that I found some weird edge case in the programming language, though that is always possible. My mindset is I did something wrong. I misunderstood how this thing is put together. Someone did something clever, perhaps, quote unquote, which is really usually code for this is going to trip up someone in the future. But it's probably something, there's probably a reason for it. That's my mental approach. So once I find that reason, I'll have a better understanding of either Lua or TitanBar, or quite possibly both. But this has been fascinating. I hope that the actual answer is a problem on my end and not like a subtle bug in Lua that we have to work around, because that'll reveal a disconnect between my brain and reality. And those are fun to find, because then you can hopefully fix one of them. Or both, whatever. Okay, so that's my plan. That's what I'm going to do going forward. Next week, we're going to hopefully have the answer. If I find it, I'll review what the problem was. We'll have an answer, and we'll move forward on what we were actually trying to do today. I got derailed by seeing what seemed to be a fundamental problem with what I was doing, and then I spent too much time playing around with that instead of just doing what I should have done in the first place, which was back up, figure out what part of the code made the problem in the first place. And that was me forgetting a crucial part of the whole reason we have source control. We can just go backwards in time, figure out where the mistake was introduced, and that limits our investigation to a very specific cause. And this is also why I really encourage you, when you're using source control, don't just commit a huge, massive change of 70 different files, 100 different purposes, and just say, I did stuff. Yes, that you have technically used source control, but you're not using it to its fullest advantage. Try to make small, isolated commits. Like this commit was just what it took to move these files around and nothing else, which makes it very easy to undo if that's what we have to do, but it also made it easier to figure out, oh, well, that was specifically the problem. If that plus the following 7 commits had all just been one thing of, I did a bunch of stuff, I can't be bothered to pick it apart, okay, the only person you're hurting in this scenario is yourself, assuming you don't have a team to be annoyed at you with. So yeah, I missed a prime opportunity to use source control to speed up this debugging process, and that's a lesson learned for me. Okay, all that being said, thank you all so much for joining me on this slightly frustrating episode of Plugging Along. That's okay. They can't all be super smooth sailing, otherwise it wouldn't be a challenge and fun. So, that's it. That's everything for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you here next week. And until then, keep plugging along, even if you feel like you're banging your head against a wall. Catch you later. Bye-bye.